Today I'll be showing you how to make these 6 pieces dress, but with a little adjustment on the neckline. I'll be using the basic round neckline instead of the square neckline. I have gone ahead to make my basic bodies and I'll continue from there. From the center front at the waist and at the bust line, you go ahead and mark your nipple to nipple measurement like you do when you want to make your dart. So I'm basically trying to mark out my dart line, and I'll connect that into a straight line. The next thing you do is to find the midpoint of your shoulder line, and when you have marked that point, you connect it to your bust point. From the bust point at the dart line, I'll go downwards by 1 inch. Then on the waistline, I'll take my 0.5-inch dart on both sides of the dart line like so. And with my straight ruler, I will connect those 0.5 mark back to the 1 inch I marked under my bust line. I hope you get it. Then I'll move down to the lower part of my pattern. So after my waistline, the next line I have is my hip line, then the length of the dress. What you do now is to extend your dart line all the way down to the length of your dress. Now on your hip line, you go upwards by 2 inches. This is something I like to do just so that I don't reduce anything from my hip measurements. And then with my straight ruler, I'll connect that point back to the waist dart. Something I like you to note, when you're making your basic pattern, ensure that your hip is about 1 inch to 2 inches bigger than your normal pattern measurement. So for example, if my hip divided by 4 is 9, you add 1 more to it, that will make it 10, or 2, 11 when you are making your pattern. I hope you get that. And then for the end of the skirt, add 2 inches to whatever the result you have on your hip line. So like I said, if your hip divided by 4 is 9, you add 1 or 2 inches, that will be 10 or 11. Then at the end of your skirt, you should have 12 or 13. Then you connect the points at the end of your skirt back to the waist. At this point, we'll try to eliminate the sharp feel that A-line skirts at this point can give. So you can go up by about 2 inches, and with your curved ruler, you'll make a curve that connects to the end of your dress. So by doing this, your dress will not look sharp at the base of the dress. And before we proceed, we'll first have to cut out this pattern, and I'll show you what is next to do. When you have each of your patterns separated, we are going to be adding extra paper to our pattern. Just watch what I am doing closely. This is the side of the pattern. So the extra paper you'll be adding should be wide enough to cover the waist area down to the end of your dress. Then you go ahead to tape that down. Note that the side where you'll be adding paper is that side where you add your dart cut out. I hope you get that. When you've had everything taped down, you are going to be marking 2 inches away from your pattern, and you'll be connecting that back to your waistline. I feel 2 inches is okay, but if you want a very wide dress, you can use 3 inches. But for me, I think 2 inches is just perfect. And with this, we're almost done with the side. You basically added volume to that part of the dress. What is next to do is just, yes, to connect that point, and that's it. You can go ahead and cut that out. Your pattern should look something like this when you are done cutting that out. Now we are moving on to the center front, and we are practically going to be repeating the same process. You're going to be adding extra paper. When you are done adding paper, you also go ahead to mark 2 inches at the base of your dress and connect it to the waistline like we did for the side panel. And here is what you have. It's just similar to the one that we did earlier. Then you go ahead and cut out the excess pattern paper. So you should have something like this when you are done cutting out. And we are basically done with the front pattern. What you need to do when you're cutting your fabric is to add 0.5 inches sewing allowance, or 1 inch as the case may be, when you're cutting your fabric, because these patterns do not have sewing allowances yet. So here is what my two front patterns look like placed side by side. Moving on to the back, the process is just similar to what we did with the front, but I'll take you through the process. On the waistline, you are going to mark your nipple to nipple measurement. You are also going to mark your nipple to nipple measurement on your armhole line. And you are going to make that into a straight line. On your shoulder line, you are going to find the midpoint, and you are going to connect that back to your dart line at the armhole area. Now on the waistline, you are going to be marking your 0.5 dart allowance, and you connect that to your armhole line. Then we'll move on to the lower part of our pattern. And you're going to be extending your dart line all the way down to the end of your dress. You then mark upwards 2 inches above the hip line. Then connect that back to the waist dart. And like we did for the front, you go ahead to mark what you have on your hip line and add 2 inches to that and mark that at the end of your dress. Then add your sewing allowance. Then you connect the point at the base of your dress to the waist. And also, like we did for the front, you are going to be eliminating the sharp points at the end of the dress. So you go up by 2 inches, and you, with your curved ruler, you make a curved line in that area like so. And at this point, we are going to be cutting out what we have. Let me use this medium to encourage you to like, share this video with your friends. You can drop your comments and your questions in the comment box, and do not forget to subscribe. Thank you. The next thing we're going to be doing is to add pattern paper to the side where we add our darts cut out. When we have everything taped down, we are not going to add our 2 inches to the base of the dress. It's just basically what we did for the front. So I'll go ahead and mark 2 inches on both sides of the paper. Then I'll connect the 2 inches mark back to the waistline. We can now cut what we have out, and we are done with the back. And your pattern should look something like this when you're done cutting out. Here is a quick sewing tip. If you want your dress to also stand like these pictures that I use, please try and add either crinoline net, add net, whichever one that is available where you are. Add it to your dress when you are sewing. This will help your dress to have that structured effect that you can see in the pictures. Thank you so much if you watched this far. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.